Roronoa Zoro.
Zoro, a name synonymous with determination, strength, and unwavering ambition. What would the One Piece world look like if Roronoa Zoro, the swordsman with a dream, was the main character instead of Luffy? Would he be the charismatic captain leading a pirate crew to greatness? Or would the Straw Hat Pirates have a very different journey? Today we're deep diving into this question and exploring how Zoro's personality, leadership, and relationships would shape the entire crew and the Grand Line itself. At the core of Zoro's character is his relentless pursuit of becoming the greatest swordsman. But how would this ambition influence his leadership? Zoro, unlike Luffy, doesn't possess the wild, carefree nature that draws people to him. His leadership style would be no nonsense, driven by results. He's not a talker, he's a doer. Under his command, the crew would likely feel the weight of responsibility more than ever before. Zoro's unwavering dedication to his own personal goal would be a constant reminder to the crew that this journey isn't about adventure, it's about achieving greatness. A captain who doesn't smile often, Zoro's focus might make him a harder figure to approach, but his fierce loyalty to his crew would never waver. When Zoro becomes the captain, Nami's response would be a bit mixed. Initially, Nami might not trust Zoro's leadership. She's accustomed to Luffy's impulsive, unpredictable nature, and Zoro's seriousness would be a stark contrast to this. Nami, known for being pragmatic and money driven, might struggle a bit with Zoro's laser focus on his dream. She might even question if Zoro can truly handle the weight of leading the crew through the whole entire Grand Line. Early in the Straw Hat's journey, Nami could be more cautious, testing Zoro's resolve and authority, but over time, she would come to respect Zoro's leadership style. However, this might take longer than it did with Luffy, as Zoro's stern approach might initially clash with Nami's more manipulative side. In time though, Nami would see that Zoro's sense of duty and discipline and protection would make him a great captain worth a following. In this reality, we're still going to have Luffy, but Luffy's role would shift dramatically. Instead of leading the crew, Luffy would find himself in a supporting role to Zoro. Luffy, with his overwhelming optimism, would still bring heart and energy to the crew, but he would no longer be the one calling the shots. Zoro's seriousness and his drive to be the greatest swordsman would inspire Luffy to take a more disciplined approach to his own goals. While Luffy would still follow his instincts, he'd become Zoro's #1 supporter, focusing on his goal to become the Pirate King while respecting Zoro's ambitions. This dynamic would create an interesting contrast. Luffy's carefree attitude would complement Zoro's dedication, and they would form an even deeper bond of mutual respect. Luffy's raw, unbridled strength would be key to keeping the crew's morale up, but Zoro, he would be the one to push them forward with his focused drive. And what about Usopp? Usopp's growth would undergo significant changes under Zoro's leadership. With Luffy as captain, Usopp could lean on Luffy's patience and humor when it came to being immature and uncertain. But with Zoro in charge, Usopp would be pushed much harder. Zoro is not a patient man, you see, especially when it comes to dedication. Usopp would face a more demanding version of himself as he struggles to prove his worth. Zoro wouldn't coddle up to Usopp the way Luffy might have. Instead, he would expect Usopp to toughen up and hone his skills, and in fact, step up when needed. However, I do think this tough love approach would help Usopp grow into a more confident and capable sharpshooter. Zoro's influence would inspire Usopp to find strength in himself, creating a deeper sense of responsibility within him. With Zoro as captain, Zoro and Sanji's relationship would become even more complicated. The rivalry between these two would definitely remain, if not intensify, but their respect for each other as warriors will be undeniable. Sanji, known for his unwavering pride and loyalty, might struggle with the idea of following Zoro, especially if he sees Zoro's seriousness as a challenge to his own sense of self. However, Sanji's own personal values, such as his desire to protect women and his dream of finding the All Blue, will still align with Zoro's ultimate goal of becoming the best. Over time, Sanji might come to see Zoro as not just a great swordsman, but as a leader that he can respect too. While there will still be bickering, their mutual drive for greatness will ultimately create a deeper bond of friendship. And what about Chopper? Chopper the young reindeer doctor. He would face a different kind of emotional growth under Zoro's leadership. Zoro's no-nonsense approach to leadership would push Chopper to grow more quickly. Zoro would see Chopper's potential and expect him to be more than just the crew's doctor. He'd expect Chopper to be a warrior in his own right too, ready to fight alongside the others when necessary. Zoro would teach Chopper the importance of self-reliance, pushing him to strengthen both his body and mind. While Zoro might not show Chopper the same level of tenderness that Luffy does, Zoro's quiet faith in Chopper would help the little doctor become his own and stand proudly by the crew's side. And what about Nico Robin? With Zoro as captain, Nico Robin would likely take a more active role in guiding the crew through the mysteries of the Grand Line. While Zoro focuses on his strength, Robin's intellect and knowledge will complement his leadership perfectly. Zoro might be more pragmatic than Luffy, and as such, he would appreciate Robin's wisdom and calm demeanor. Their partnership would likely be rooted in mutual respect for each other's strengths. Zoro wouldn't push Robin in the same way he would with Usopp or Chopper, recognizing that her talents lie more in her mind than her physical combat. And that's not to say that Robin isn't an excellent combat, because she most definitely is. In this dynamic, Robin will serve as the voice of reason, helping Zoro navigate complex situations with her understanding of the world's history. And moving on from Robin, what about Franky? Franky is the crew's shipwright and tech genius, if I say so myself. He would be a key player in Zoro's world. While Luffy often overlooked the technicalities of their ships or weapons, Zoro would appreciate Franky's precision and craftsmanship. Zoro would likely give Franky more responsibility when it comes to maintaining a cruise ship, the Thousand Sunny, and ensuring that their weapons are up to standard too. Franky, with his boisterous personality and strong sense of pride, would respect Zoro's vision for the crew, but for their moments of tension, this would be filled with humor instead. Under Zoro's leadership, Franky's inventions might be more refined, more practical for combat situations, and perhaps even more focused on their defense as well as offense. And also, let's not forget about both Brook and Jimbe, because these were late additions, but under Zoro's leadership, they would continue to evolve too. Brook's spirit and musical skills would still be crucial for morale, though Zoro might be more pragmatic about Brook's role. Zoro would recognize Brook's importance in combat situations, but he would also respect his loyalty and his humor. Jinbe, with his history and wisdom, would complement Zoro's leadership style, adding balance to the crew's more intense moments. Zoro's focused nature would align well with Jinbe's calm demeanor, and together they could guide the crew through more morally complex decisions in their journey. In this alternate reality, Zoro's leadership would undoubtedly transform the Straw Hat Pirates. Each member would grow in their own unique way, influenced by Zoro's no-nonsense attitude, his pursuit for strength, and his unwavering commitment to his crew. The Grand Line would be a much darker and more serious place, filled with intense battles and moments of introspection. While Zoro's leadership might not have the infectious optimism of Luffy, it would certainly push the crew to even greater heights. And in the end, it might be Zoro's quiet determination, his bond with his crew, and his infectious will that led them all to the greatest treasure in the One Piece world, the One Piece. But tell me, what do you all think? Would Zoro make a great captain? Let me know down in the comments. Peace.